Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to a new episode of Kevirsyle Network. I know it's kind of weird because it's a different time today, but things happen. But I'm your host. I'm Kevin Davis, comic creator, author, writer, entrepreneur, and a whole other different hats that I don't feel like naming out, but it's too much. But today's guest is my friend, Mr. Travis Kuffel, if I believe it's how I pronounce your last name.
Yep.
Travis Cuffle. Awesome. I got it. Yay. Welcome to the show, man. How you doing, bro?
Thanks a lot, Kevin. It's good to be here. Good to be here. Nice to see you. It's going to be a fun time. So,
Heck yeah, man. I know a little bit about you. I know you're an author with Jumpmaster Press. I think you saw the
yep.
show that I had with Kyle Hanna a couple of months back.
Yep.
Well, first off, tell us about who Travis is, and like I know what you do, but the audience might not know. So tell us who you are. Like, what's your genesis? Like, what's your beginning in becoming a creative?
Well, I've always been drawn to reading. I was raised in a logging family. Look up behind me, you see pictures of trees and people hanging from the air. Well, that's my trade. I'm an arborist. So, literally about an hour and a half ago, I was 90 feet in the air cutting a tree down. And now here hanging out with you. So this is what I do all day. It's what I've done since I was 7 years old. Is my grandfather had a lumber mill up in Northeast Massachusetts, and I was raised around it. Got out of it for a while, and then just kind of got sucked back in. So that's what I've done for a trade for years. I've been in ministry for years, and then all the way through, I've been a relentless reader. I tormented my librarian in my hometown as a homeschool kid working on my. It's kind of silly. Is I was raised like you would be on a farm, right? The kids worked on the farm. Well, my grandfather had the lumber mill. I did homeschool and I worked in the lumber mill. So my entertainment was go get another book at the library. So constantly tormenting my librarian. You got a new book? Got a new book? Got a new book? And all the way through, I love stories, so I'd start doing little short stories, and I'd come up with a little thing, and it'd be 2 pages long, handwritten, and it'd be fun and all. And then as soon as I had to do editing, forget about it. It's rage quit. If you have to edit handwritten stuff, no way. Computers are a godsend. So all the way through, I've done what I've done, and then I've always been drawn to create and to write, and I've always been working on this series I've got here, the Tales of Gandon, and this fantasy realm Gandon for about 10 years, and finally about 4 years ago, what year is it now? 26. Yeah, about 4 years ago, I finally started writing out the stories, and yeah, so here we are. You know.
Heck yeah, man. And I want to deep dive into Tales of Gandon. What's the story of this series that you started, and like what was your big inspiration that want you to start the series? Because one, I am a big
So
fantasy fan myself, so I saw your book. I haven't got it yet, but I'm definitely gonna buy it.
yeah,
So, well,
yeah.
I think it was a dragon that I saw of your book. I think it was a dragon cover, I believe. Was it? Or-
No, no, actually, it's right here.
There
So
we
I
go.
don't actually.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, fantasy, it's got to be dragons, right? So believe it or
Right.
not, I don't have dragons in this. I'm like, why don't you have dragons? Well, I just don't. You never know what the future would hold, but for now, there aren't any. I don't do the elves and dwarves type of fantasy. My realm is very unique. It's grounded, but I have a lot of unique creatures and unique elements.
Heck yeah.
So for me, it was a what if. So being having been in ministry for years and been having been a pastor, I looked at the fall of Adam and Eve, and I said, what if the fall happened differently? What if it wasn't getting tricked
Ooh.
by a serpent, right? What if the Garden of Eden lasted for a long time, established itself, and something else caused the fall? So I kind of established a new way that the world fell, and the magic system is simply worship. It's singing, it's dancing in a sense. It's not like literally singing. It's more of like an intent of singing or an intent of dancing, movement, sound, and that's how the magic happens. And it has many ways of manifesting. So it was all about just like, what if things looked a little bit different? Our world happened a little differently. So Gandon is a place I've created. There's no New York or Massachusetts. The continents are not they don't look anything like our land. but it's many of the elements are grounded in our reality. Obviously way back in a fantasy format. It's not urban fantasy by any means. It's epic fantasy. So I just do a lot of what ifs.
I love those too. I love those type of stories too.
Yeah,
Oh my god. Thank
yeah.
you.
So like Unleashed is the debut of the series. Is the first one I've published, but as crazy as
Can
it
we see that cover one
sounds.
more time?
Oh yeah. Go
It
for
looks
it.
pretty awesome.
Right
Guys, look
there.
at that. And that's book one.
Yeah,
That is beautiful.
the guys at Jumpmaster did an awesome. Gene Rowley, awesome guy. I love working with these guys. So
Heck yeah.
crazy how it all came about. So I started writing like I said, I was working on this whole fantasy thing and Gandon and creating the maps and the characters and the magic systems for years. And I was just sitting on it, like working on trying to find the story, right? So finally one day it just hit. I was like, there's the story. So I started writing. I was like, all right, maybe I can get a book out of this because I'd never written a novel, right? I was just like, let's give this a shot. Being a homeschooler, I'm like, I don't know if I've got the skills for this thing or the chops or anything like that, but I like writing. I like reading. I like stories. So I'm going to do this. And if I enjoy it, that's great. If it's something else,
Heck yeah.
then that's something I can't control, right? So I sit down and start writing. And within a month, I'm like, there's no way I'm fitting this in one book. Like, I've got way too much going on here. Within 6 months, I'd written three books. It was all one continuous story. It's a trilogy called the Shadow War Saga. And so I wrote this whole story and I look at it, I'm like, okay, that was fun. This is awesome. But guess what? I'm in the middle of the story. So here I am, George Lucas style. I'm like, A New Hope, 4, 5, 6, right? So I'm like, all right, I am not going to put these out yet because I don't want nobody's going to know who these characters are. There's no established, like, right? You're just dumped right in the middle of the story. So I went back and I wrote Unleashed. I wrote this back in 2023, released it in 24 as an indie author. I tried the whole, tried to query agents and all that stuff, and I just couldn't get any traction with it, couldn't get any responses because it's a quagmire out there. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to see what happens with it. So I released Unleashed as an indie author, started writing the sequel to it while it was already really, in the process, but started writing the sequel to that one. It's called Untamed. So anyway, I'm out there doing the circuit, going to every event I can, doing Comic-Cons and all that stuff. And I crossed paths with Kyle and Gene at the Springfield Comic-Con up in Massachusetts here. So they had their whole traveling bookstore, which is really cool. I mean, they've got Jumpmaster just has it's just an awesome display. They've got books on books and all the authors that they publish. So we're kind of like right across the aisle from each other. So we spent the whole weekend. I go over and chat with them. They come over and chat with me. They're checking out because I put like swords and bows out with the book and everything like that. And everybody's like, "Can I buy a sword?" And I said, "No, but you can buy a book," because my daughter would kill me if I sold one of her swords. So I can't do that to her. So we're just going back and forth and checking it out, and we just kind of hit it off. Well, a month later, they have an open submission period where you don't have to have an agent or anything like that. You just gotta submit your stuff. So I'm sitting there and I was thinking about it. I'm like, look, I've already released this book. I've always been told once you release indie, you can never get into the traditional format, not with a book that's already been released, but like, just give this thing a shot because there's so much about the publishing industry. No matter how much I study, I can do all the podcasts, I can get on all the Facebook groups. There's so much I don't know that I don't know, right? It's just, I just know what I experienced, what I've taught myself, but there's so many blind spots. So why not see if I can get in with somebody and try? Because that was my original intent anyway, is to be traditional. So I reached out to them. I submitted the book, and they decided to run with it. So I was like, all right. So they want to do the series and all that stuff, and we'll just let the future hold that. But that was back in summer 24 was when I signed with them. It took a long process, as anything in the publishing industry does. We just re-released Unleashed back in March of 26 here, and I sent in the sequel to Unleashed a month ago, something like that, and that's due for release next summer. So in the third book in the series, I'm almost 3/4 of the way done writing that one, so that'll be coming right back in. And then once those 3 are done, everything's established, and then you guys get to finally experience the Shadow War Saga, which is everything I'm building towards. So,
dude, that's freaking amazing. I remember talking to Kyle. I saw so many books. I saw dragons. I thought one of your books was a dragon on it, so my apologies. But
Yeah, no, you're fine. You're fine.
I was just like a fanboy. I was like, I need to buy all these freaking books. I'm such a sucker for these type of
Yeah.
stories. And you actually just answered like three of my other questions I was about to ask. So thank you for that, dude. Making my job easier. Um, but what is
Whoops.
like like because you already answered what inspired you with the story with the Adam and Eve and how you grew up in ministry. It was like I'm as a I grew up in ministry. I grew up in ministry myself, so I completely understand. I'm like,
There you
so
go.
I relate completely. So what's like an aspect of Gandhi are you like most excited for fans, like readers, to explore when they get your books?
I want them to understand the power of connecting, because in Unleashed, there's no connection to the spiritual realm. There's no God. He's been severed from the land for 1,000 years. So the book starts with a prologue of, you get a snippet of what I call the Thurin War, which is something that happened in the distant past, and it caused the separation between. I don't use these terms in the books, but for our natural understanding, uh, the separation was heaven got separated from earth, God gets separated from here. And there's no connection now. No God, no angels, no spiritual aspects, no magic, all gone through a single cataclysmic event, which you get to experience in the prologue of the book. You might not realize the significance of it, but you get to see it from one person's perspective, how this thing happened. And each book gets a different person's perspective of this event. Each in the prologue, I give you like from one person, they're kind of distant. The second book, they're kind of right next to what happens. You get little snippets of what this cataclysmic event was, where heaven and earth get separated and no connection whatsoever. So you get this prologue, and then you fast forward 1,000 years. Now you're dumped into this land where there is no spiritual aspect. There's no hope. There's no excitement. They can be excited about certain things, but it's a very dark land, very grim land, because there is no hope. And you look at the world we have around us, right? And it can feel hopeless sometimes. And you look at the stories over the last 20 years. You look at the TV shows. So let's just focus on fantasy. You got like Game of Thrones, right? Very grim, dark. It like hopeless situation. Yeah, it's a dark land, but everything doesn't work out, and everybody's against each other, and all that. Well, for me, I've chosen to go the what do they call this? Noble dark. Is yes, it's a dark world, but there are noble people that still believe in hope. What's that?
Oh, I was saying to chat, so I was like, what's up,
Oh,
Davis?
gotcha. Yeah, you're good. Okay, I thought you were trying to get my attention. So,
Oh,
so
no,
I
sorry, I was
the
saying,
thing of the thing I'm most excited about is to give people something that they can look at the hopelessness of the world we have around us, and kind of connect with characters who, despite the situation that surrounds them, they still have hope is something better, even though they have no idea why. They're just driven by, there's something better than this. So I get deep into the character studies of people. So the two main characters you're going to run into, one is Cadell. He's like a central figure to everything all through the books. He's just like the guy, right? He doesn't know it yet. He's still a young warrior in Unleashed. But what happens is, for him, it's the reverse of the hero's journey, where, yeah, he's a young warrior. He doesn't know who he is, but throughout all the books, things get stripped away from him. And he has to learn how to hold on to his character the less he has, and the more he fails, right? And usually you get the character builds and builds and builds, it gets more heroic. Well, in Unleashed, he's kind of OP, right? He just can't do it. He can do no wrong. Even when things go bad, he's like, everything works out. And then as the books progress, things don't work out as well, and he fails a little bit more and more, and he has to face himself. Can I still push through when I'm failing? Can I really get there? And things get really bad as you get deeper into the books. But Unleashed, he's just like, oh yeah, he's just a ripping through. He's just like super powered like that. So you got him, and then you got another person that's like a terrible villain and all that stuff, and they experience an aspect of mercy where they don't know what mercy is. They're not a merciful person. Their realm doesn't believe in mercy. Well, they are faced with the opportunity to die, sword against their throat, and the person decides not to kill them, and it flips their world upside down. And now you get to see what it's like for them to have to go back into their realm where kill or be killed. If I want what you have, I get to take it. If you want to try to stop me, well, we're going to fight over it, and whoever lives gets to have it. That's the rule. That's just how simplistic it is. Well, they have to go back into that realm with this mercy starting to stir inside of them, and hope starting to stir inside of them, and they don't know what it is, and they hate it. And you get to see their world get turned upside down. So I love getting deep into character studies like that.
Oh my god. Before I get to the next questions, do you have a link where we can actually buy the book? Buy your book.
Where to buy the book?
Yeah.
Is that what you asked? Yeah,
Yeah, do
so you
do
can
you
get
have a
it.
link to it so I can share it
Yep.
into the chat?
Oh, that's right. I was gonna. That was a busy day in the trees. You asked me
That's,
about sending that to you.
yeah, that's kind
So you could get it directly from Jumpmaster Press. They sell it directly, or you can get it on Amazon. Either way, easy to order up and get. I do a lot of local events. I have I don't know, it's half dozen, maybe a dozen bookstores in the area, libraries in the area that have it on their shelves around here. It's in the shelves out there. So, it's kind of making some traction here, and you can find it around. But if you want to, the easiest way to do it is pick up the phone and just find the link to Jumpmaster, or find the everybody's got Amazon, and just order it up. But if you want a signed copy, then you gotta come find me. So
well, you gotta find Travis guys to get a signed copy.
there you go. So
um,
going back into the books, one thing that sorry, just like a tangent with what you were asking. So being a believer, right? I've always looked for books that are palatable for me, right? I don't like to have to skim over pages, and I don't need the sex, I don't need the gore, right? We can assume it's already happening, right? So
yeah.
even though I talk about in the context of our conversation, I mentioned heaven and hell. You're never going to see those words in these books. You're not going to see the word God. You're not going to see Jesus. That doesn't happen. You might get context, but everything about these books is the lack thereof those kinds of elements. So there is none of that in the book. The whole story is about what is life like when you don't have that here. So it's a completely different realm. It's not this earth. It's a different place entirely, where they're trying to figure out how to find hope, how to find light, how to find a reason to live when there is no reason for that outside of what's around you. So yeah, as a believer, there's action, of course. There's violence, of course, but you're not going to get I could get all the sex and graphic nudity and all the other crazy stuff you find in some secular books. You're not going to get profanity. You're not going to get the gore, but you are going to be pushed to your limits sometimes, right? So I'm very well within that PG-13 and kind of pushing it range without crossing the line.
Oh, yeah. I feel like we need more stories like that because I feel like with the gore and like the sexual stuff, it's like it's oversaturated at this point.
Right.
And
Have faith that
and
the reader can figure out something's going on behind the door.
yeah, it's man, like I I grew up having my mom always taught me not to read, even though I hated it for a while. 'Cause I was a kid. I didn't want to read and stuff. I was a kid. But watching my older sister grew up, she was reading like the Twilight books. No, I read the Percy Jacksons. She was reading like some other type of books, like Narnia. It was like
Yep.
I learned about Narnia through her. How she said that it's basically the author was teaching us about Jesus just in a fantasy world,
Right.
and it was like, dude, I'm like that's so freaking cool how someone with that mindset can do that. Because I'm a believer
Right.
myself, and um, I started out writing novels first. I wrote my first novel about my life like 2020 ish, but I took it down in 2023 because I felt like it wasn't ready,
Right.
and I felt like I didn't have the experience to actually be open about my life. And so now
Hmm.
3 years later, after taking it out, I'm actually picking it back up, sharing about my life because one, I'm in a better mindset spiritually, mentally, physically, and now I can actually articulate about my faith and not be scared about it.
Right.
And then I'm also want to, and I'm also thinking about writing other stories like from my faith point of view, but kind of like how you're doing. Now I understand how I want to do it now, listening to you. And I was
Hmm.
like, I'm like, because I'm like, not everyone is a believer. I get that. So I want to make it. Like, I want to make a universe that like everyone can like be relatable to a character somehow. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
so right now I write mostly comics. I am like series Arcfire that's out right now. My lead character is basically I base him on me because he has this gift power within him that he doesn't know or how to operate it, and he has no
Right.
memory of who he is. And that's based on me because growing up I didn't know who the heck I wanted to be, and I didn't know what gifts that God has in me that He's putting out of me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, yes, I'm a big like horror and fantasy fan, but I try to stay away from the normal stuff, like the gore.
Right.
And like, yes, I like a little gore, but the gore goes with the story to show you what's happening in the comic and like what's happening with to progress the story. That you know, like this villain is very bad. You not be like this thing, or like be like this person. He might be going through a dark, um, dark moment, but he will get out of it as you continue reading the story. And
Hmm.
so now I'm getting back into writing novels to not because I want to like try to reach multiple mediums. Like I have the comic side, I also want some novel sides. Because I got into writing because I want to like inspire people to start reading more and like get out media
Right.
for a while. I was like, go like
Hmm.
explore your imagination because I feel like creativity has been very low a lot lately, and
Hmm.
people are like too many people have been angry and just hating on everything and just not having a good outlet. And media
Hmm.
doesn't really help because it messes with your mental health. And I was like, okay, how can like? And so I'm like, okay, I need because I want to help people as best way I can. I was like, I might be a nobody, but that's fine. I'm like, if it helps one person, that makes my entire day. I'm like, I don't need to
Hmm.
like a, reach a million people all at once. I'm like, if I can touch one person, I give God the glory for that because that one person got something out of it that I didn't see or couldn't see.
There
You
you
know what I
go.
mean?
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
so now, and I'm actually now listen. I'm very excited to buy your book now because I really want to read it now. I definitely think find it on Amazon and copy. And you guys should too. Who's watching? You should grab Unleashed. So please show the cover one more time, so people
Yeah.
can see it. Guys, Unleashed is on Amazon by Travis Kuffel and jumpmasterpress.com as well. But if you want a signed copy, you have to contact Travis himself. So
Yep.
um, but dude, this is freaking fantastic. This is inspiring me to dive more back to my novels and like especially building out a world like you're doing yours. Um, if readers could only remember one thing about your characters in Unleash, what would you want it to be?
If they could hear one thing about my characters in Unleashed,
Remember, remember one thing about your characters.
one thing about them.
Yeah.
Geez, that's a great question. If they could think of, just watch out. You never know what's going to happen. Um, that's the best thing I could. There, the best way I could say it. Okay, so my kids played The Sims, right? They could create the character and they come up with all the attributes, and then they hit go, and suddenly the character's going somewhere else, doing something else, doing it. My characters have character. Like I don't even know what they're gonna do. Sometimes I'll plan out the story, and I'm like, all right, so we're gonna go here, and I look, and they're going over there. I'm like, I guess we're going over here now, right? So I've gotten the fun of experiencing all these individual characters doing what they would do, not exactly what I would do in the situation. So you just never know what's going to happen. They're to me, they're real people. Like they're living their lives, and if I'm out right, they're sitting there going, "All right, we gonna get on with this thing," or So they're they're just. I don't base them on anybody that I know, or I don't write myself in the story for these. They're just they're people doing people things in their scenario, right? So like going back, like you talk about the gospel and all that stuff. There's an old evangelist. Wish I could remember his name, but he said something that's always stuck well with me. Is I preach the gospel everywhere I go, and sometimes I even speak.
I know that sound.
So
I
it's a
know that
great
sound.
phrase. So like the books, like C.S. Lewis is awesome with his allegories, Jesus and Aslan and all that stuff. I don't even get
Yeah.
that deep on it. To find the allegories, you're gonna have to look really deep, and that's intentional because I don't want it to be that unless you're looking for it. I just want it to be a good story, and you'll find allegories. The way I've written my books, to find every nugget and every little bit, I believe would take about 3 reads. Like I layer it deep. Like there's certain things like right? So there are different things, characters, and different stuff that you'll see along the way that you'll miss the first time, and then the second time you're like, oh, that makes sense. The third time it's going to be like blatant in your face, right? So I love nuance and layer like that. But that's how the characters are as well. They're going to make decisions. They're going to have thought processes that might seem weird sometimes, but when you see where they get to where they're going, so it'll start all clicking, and that's what all these characters are. They're good bad guys and bad guys, and sometimes what I keep finding from readers is they kind of like my bad guys more than the good guys.
I,
So
I'm not gonna lie, I am a bad guy fan.
there you go, the
Like
Darth Vader and all that, right?
from a writer point of view and a fan point of view, I'm a bad guy fan. Is and like I've always said, like, if I become an actor, I want to be like a creature actor, where I can, where I don't have to say any lines. I can just scare people and just be the villain. Because I feel like being
There
a
you go.
villain is like an easier thing to do than being the hero, because the hero has to follow so many more rules, and the villain can do
Right.
what the heck he wants or her what
Yep.
the heck she wants. And so, like growing up, I'm a big like Alien fan. I was like, I've always like
Yeah.
been curious how, like, first, like, what one of my random thoughts was like, first, how do they pee in that costume though? It's my that's like, I'm like a normal person be scared, like terrified of design. I'm thinking, how do you pee in that? And I'm thinking, it's like you probably look at me weird. Like, how do they pee in that? And I was like, how does it feel? Like, how do they carry it on their body? Like, is it heavy? It was like I'm not a normal person. I think of I'm like my brain gets weird.
Right.
But that's
Right.
why I started building myself, because I want to create my own type of worlds.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I'm like, and plus I did a voice acting thing in a horror movie a couple years ago,
Oh, cool.
and I fell in love with voice acting. So I'm like, I want to get my voice trained so I can do more type of that, because I'm a big like Andy Serkis fan from Lord of the Rings,
Oh man,
and
good guy. Yeah.
and and I saw like the behind the scenes of how he plays Gollum and how he maneuvers his body, and like,
Mm-hmm.
even when he played Caesar in the Planet of the Apes movies, I'm just like, dude, I would love that challenge to like someone train me to coordinate my body. If I have to pop my bones, I don't care. I will figure it out. It's like yeah, I'm a sucker for a challenge. Like if you can tell, I'm
Yep.
really a sucker for a challenge. And I'm just like, yes, I'm an introvert, but if you give me like a really good nerdy space, I will be an extrovert really fast.
Oh yeah.
And
Absolutely.
talking to people like you with this creative imagination, it just really gets me. Like it brings the nerd out of me, and brings the fan,
Mm-hmm.
it brings the writer out of me. And that's how I want other people to feel when they try, like, potentially read my books and stories that I create,
Right.
whatever I bring out. And so, and growing up, I hated writing, especially in school when you have to write papers. And I didn't find out the guilt. Like started showing me my gift in writing in like my ninth grade of high school, after an African American history class paper we had to write. My teacher grade like leveled us from 1 to 5. It was like, one, you need a lot of help, basically. Like three, it's like you're there, but I want to push you to that 5, like professional college and above level.
Right.
First paper done, I was a level 3, and my teacher's like, you have great writing. Now that's going to push you higher to that 5 and
There you
above.
go. Yep.
I was like, me? Are you sure? Like, are you sure you got the right person, right? Because I freaking
Right.
hated writing. And then my mother turns out is also a writer herself. So it turns out
Oh,
writing
there
is
you
a
go.
and she showed me poetry she wrote about me and my sister, which we were kids, how much she loves us. I was like, Mom, why do you feel like crying today? God dang it, Mom. Like, Jesus. And then she let me read her murder mystery book, and I could not put that book down for the life of me. And then I had
Wow.
that what if moment. Like you had, I mean, I had that what if moment. I was like, could I do this? I'm like, what if I could create my own type of murder mystery? Or like, could I make my own murder mystery? And then, like the imposter syndrome kind of sneaks in a bit at times when you the creative juices going. I get
Mm-hmm.
I try to I put it down for like a minute. I was like, no, I can't do that. But then again, my mother always said we don't have the vocabulary crit in our blood. We do not go by e crit. We never say quit. We never say never.
Hmm.
And
There you
she's
go.
and writing became my therapy, um, because growing up I was dealing with a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, and a lot of suicidal thoughts, basically.
Hmm.
And
That's
I had a lot of
challenging.
oh yeah, and I had like a lot of pent up anger issues, and I pushed on everybody else, blaming them because I didn't want to deal with anything. My mother,
Hmm.
God bless her, she locked me in my room and gave me a notebook and a pencil and pen or both. Says you cannot come out this room until you start writing that crap out of your head or that crap out of your heart.
Wow. Wow.
Because first of all, she said first of all, I ain't raising no abusive man. He's like God did not give me a son to make a God did not give me an abusive, manipulative man to raise.
Right.
And she said, I'm not going to be the type of mother that's going to see her son on TV, see her son on TV, like being arrested, saying that he was beating up his wife. I'm not going to allow that. I'm going to
Hmm.
nip this in the book right now while you're young. I don't know. I don't even remember how old I was. I just know I was young.
Right. Right.
And of course, I sat on my bed crying. And I looked at the paper, and I was just like, ah. And then like I couldn't leave. It's like I could not leave. I was like, because she would not let me get out of my room until I started writing. And then I was like, you know what? Let's see what happens. And I started writing, and then my brain started to,
There you go.
and my heart started just getting, just I can't find the word, but flushing out that those feelings that I had built
Hmm.
up since I was young.
Right.
And that's when I found that God was revealing to me that I'm meant to be a writer.
Mm.
And that was just the beginning. And then as time progresses, I learned the business side of things. I
Right.
didn't think about wanting to be a business person at all. And then but my mother is a businesswoman, so I have that in my blood too.
There you go. Got exposed to it. So
Literally, like growing up in
yeah.
ministry, legit. The way she balances out everything from ministry to how she operates her whatever business stuff she does. I don't know what everything she does,
Right.
and so I started out designing clothes first. That's when my entrepreneurship started as designing clothes, and my mother, my sisters, my even my grandmother and random people that they promoted me to started supporting me, investing in me. I was like, okay, let me see where I can go with this. And so and then I got more into writing my novel, and I wrote my first novel is Jackal Bunny, which is a horror novel that's on Amazon.
Hmm.
And that was so much fun to write. And that's currently and the comic version of that is currently in production, so I'm excited for that.
Very nice. Very nice.
And so I learned about comics around 2020. I didn't grow up on comics because I knew Marvel and DC and stuff. For like the animations and movies and stuff. And so I'm
Hmm.
like, and so I was like, okay, I don't know what that could comics are, but I'm gonna try this out and see what this medium is. Because like I said, I grew up on novels like the Percy Jackson, the Harry Potter, the faith-based books like the End
Right.
Book, uh, um, Uncrenched was one of my books I read, and so many other beautiful books I can't name off the top of my head. I've read so many of them,
Right.
and so, like that really influenced my style of writing because I wanted to make sure each character I create is relatable to somebody somehow.
Yep.
And it was like, and so I was like, at first I want to like do like a look up a traditional publisher to see how that route goes, yada yada yada. And I was like, but I was like, I don't trust people. I was like, I don't trust people.
There you
So
go.
and so God gave me this idea to start my own publishing company, and showed me and then like have me study the logistics of everything, how to get distribution and how to format everything, how to edit everything, and yada yada yada. It's a freaking headache, but it's worth it because I'm here today as a publisher 4 years in. Officially,
Nice.
last month in May marked my 4 years officially as a publisher, and I've actually published three people so far under in my company, and
There you go.
it's a quite an honor that people that actually trust me to publish them because they tell me that they watch me and how I inspire them, and I was like, I feel like I'm not even doing enough yet. How am I inspiring you? So,
Right, right.
and then they tell me it's like they see me doing multiple things at once. They made them want to get up and then and get into writing. And like my friend named Evan, he lost his dad a couple years ago. That's his story to tell. I don't want to. Like, that's his story to tell. But he said, like, the thing he humbled me and made me feel so good when he told me that he got back to writing because he saw that he was watching me. Like my sibling was
Wow.
watching me, and I'm just like, bro, are you kidding me right now? And his first novel was his dad's novel that his dad didn't get to finish, but he finished it and he asked me to publish it for him, and I did.
Wow.
And now he's 3 or 4 books in now on his publishing on his author journey. And
Opened up the floodgates, huh? Good for
literally,
him.
like literally, he just like last week he sent me in his fourth book. I think it's fourth or fifth book. I lost count now because he sends me so many books to edit. And I'm like, I'm already editing his next book and finna getting ready to send it out to public to print it, publish it. And I was like, wow, this is actually real.
It's
I'm
awesome.
like a publisher helping people.
Right.
But yeah, enough of me yap, blabbering. This is about you.
No, no, you're good. You're good. It's great. You can't despise the small beginnings, right? You got to start somewhere, and if you take the small things serious when you're starting, then you're creating a foundation for when it does, if it does, get somewhere else. And now you get to help people and inspire people, and this is how it works. So I don't care what side of the publishing industry you're on, whether you're the author or the publisher, you take the small things serious all the way along. Whether it's for me making sure the river turns at the proper place and everybody camps at the right spot. Yeah, that doesn't matter to the reader, but it matters to me because it'll matter someday down the road, right? Or making sure this character makes a decision that's consistent with who they are. All the little things, the realms, all like the size of the blocks that go in the building. It might not be in the book, but I've got notes. Like it's the little things, and we take it serious because when it gets big, now you have a foundation to build on. So, like with you, with the publishing journey, like you start with the little things, you take it serious, and it starts snowballing, and floodgates open, and now you have a foundation you're building on. So it's all good stuff. That's great.
Heck yeah, and I know I have a fourth person that she wants me to publish her next. So I have to see how, talk to her soon about that. So it's like it's just I don't take anything for granted. I'm just like I give all the
Right.
credit because I don't know. I don't even know I want to even be a part of this anyway. Especially as
There you go.
the business side of things. So I'm basically like James Gunn and Peter Safran because I'm the creative, but also I'm the business person. So I'm like bouncing both
Right.
sides. Because I'm when I'm watching when I'm watching movies and TV shows now, I have two different brains batting each other now. Because I have the fan brain,
Yep.
the writer's brain, and I was like,
Yep.
the first watch, I try to keep it as a fan brain because I just want to enjoy it, have no expectations, and like try not to critique it yet because I want to rewatch it and then like try to critique it. But now, in the first watch, I was like, okay, you could have done this and made it to make it more smoother for the
Uh
story
huh.
to continue. I was like, wait, no, it's the first watch. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna fight it. I'm just gonna just do it.
There you go.
And so it's like, but this, this by 4 years, I've learned so much already that it's like I can't help it. My brain just operates that right now. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And then like even I like random people come ask me for advice. I'm just like, I'm asking you for advice. Like, bro,
You're still trying to figure it out yourself. How can you give it? But hey, as you get answers, you get the ability to give other people answers. I guess.
hey, because I don't gatekeep nothing. If, like, I'll figure it out and I'll help you the best way I can.
There you
But
go.
next question: what is your typical writing day look like for you? Because I know you have a tree business. Like, how do you balance that, like the writing and the tree business?
That is the ultimate juggling trick right there. Between running a tree business, which this is like full tilt from April to December is full tilt. I mean, it's a farmer's life. You got to work when the sun's out, right? So I run that. I do the scheduling. I take the calls. I do all the estimates. I run the crews, and then I got really good team, great guys,
Yeah.
very well established company. So it got that going for us, right? But it's still a lot of work, a lot of time. So some days I'm out working until 8 o'clock at night looking at trees, just going to customers' houses talking to them. So I've got that, and I've got 5 kids, and I am part of the church, and I'm part of the worship teams, and so like there's many commitments, you know. So for me, late at night is my writing time. My little 6-year-old, he adores me, which I take as one of the biggest compliments I possibly could have, is that I have kids that want to spend time with me. Now, as far as writing goes, that's a major challenge because you only have so many hours in the day. So I come home from work and they just want to hang out with me. They want me to play Roblox with them, which I have no idea what any of it means. But he's like, I'm sharing his life, so I'm going to do it because I only get this time with him once. They say what 95% of the time of your life that you've spent with your parents is ended by the time you're 18. So all the time I'm going to have with my kids is now. So I got to stay committed to that. Just spending time. I've got one of my not one of my oldest is she's a missionary. She's about to leave in a couple of days to start traveling the world again. She's gonna be 20. So my time with her is pretty much over. She's in and out and travel the world. So like that's the wide span of kids I have, and I love them. Then you got the church and the worship and the music and all that stuff. So for me, late at night I'll stay up late if I have to, midnight, 12:30, 1 o'clock, just to get a sequence out. And then I'll go sleep and go to work in the morning. But for me, my biggest writing time is winters because I can't. For up here in New England, winter hits hard. Snow comes in, it gets cold out. Really not doing any tree work, so I get home. I get to stay home a lot. I get a ton of writing done. So I look forward to winters, especially for that aspect. Is I can really hammer out some books. So I get most of my writing done in the winters. So
Heck yeah.
there you
Winter is
go.
my favorite season. Because my sister, she said she's a fall baby. I mean, she's a fall person. I'm a winter person because I'm always hot. I'm never cold. They're in my house, having their heaters on. I have my fans on year round because I'm legit never
Right.
cold. And, and like I've been told when people hug me, they feel that I'm not lying because they feel the heat on me. He's like, dude, how the heck? I mean, you're legit all werewolf. I was like, I've been told. I'm like, wow. I don't know. I'm like, God just made my body this way. I'm like, so I'm
Some
not
people
legit.
are like that, man.
I was like, I
Yep.
don't know, thick blooded or then I don't even know how to put that. I mean, I don't know how to where this come from. I'm not a doctor
There you
to
go.
really explain that.
Right.
But winter is like my favorite season because I'm like, because we barely get snow here in Tennessee. But when we do, I'd be like, well, sometimes if it's not icy snow, I will go out there and be
Right.
like a kid and make a snow angel just because. I
Hey,
might be
why
grown.
not?
I'm still a kid at heart, so I'm like, I'm gonna go have some fun this summer if it's not icy. Because last time we had snow here, it was icy that I fell and it hurt my back.
Oh man.
Yeah, I legit as soon as I walked, I slipped and hurt my like my tailbone or my butt and my back. I was like, oh my god, that's ice. Shit, good lord. Luckily, it didn't. I didn't break anything. Thank by the grace of God, Jesus. But that ice hurt the crap out of me. I was down for like at least a couple hours that day.
That's
I was
not
just trying,
good.
if I was just trying to go see how it was outside, but it's like the ice just struck at me. I was like, I was trying to see how beautiful you are. Jesus, good lord.
So last winter we got a major blizzard up in the Northeast. It was like 20 some odd inches in one storm, right? So it went all day, and we hung out watching the football playoffs and all that stuff. Patriots are going, having their run and all that stuff. So because I could do anything all day. So the game's over, and like I look outside, and I was like, this is some sledding weather, man. So I grabbed the kids. I'm like, guys, throw your stuff on. Dad's home. We're gonna go sledding. We got a hill out behind the house. We got that nice big hill to slide on. So I was like, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. I'm trying to hype them up because nobody wants to go outside. It's cold. It's bitter. It's windy. It's snowing. It's dark out, but I'm like, you know what? Dad's gonna go sledding with you. Let's go. So I get them all dressed up. I'm trying to hype them. We get out, and we have to walk about 150 feet, just to maybe 200 feet out the back door to get to the hill. And then the hill is another, it's steep like this, So we're walking across and like, this is a great idea. And the kids are going, I've got Ezekiel up on my shoulders. He's 6 years old and all that stuff. And the kids are with me and like, this is a bad idea. And I'm like, that's a great idea. This is awesome. We're gonna have a great time. We get to the hill. We're trying to get up it. And I start laughing. I'm like, this is a terrible idea. They're like, yeah, this is a bad idea. I'm like, look, we're going to have to walk, the snow's up to our knees. We're going to have to walk all the way through the snow to get back. Let's get up the hill and go sledding. We couldn't even get up the hill. We're sliding down. It was a debacle, but that's the experience of winter, right? At least we didn't ruin our backs like you did. But like sometimes winter is winter, it's rough. It was fun though.
and and I know you have multiple books in the series. Uh, how do you stay organized, making sure you actually? Because with me, I have like multiple tabs open on my laptop while I'm working on one
Yep.
story. I have ideas for another story. I'm like, wait, no, I'm trying to focus on this one, but I put that idea for that story in that tab so I won't forget it. Like as a creative, like my brain goes, I'm like, I'm trying to work on my one priority story, but I have like five other books that I'm also doing at the same
Oh
time.
yeah.
How do you stay organized and like grounded to stay focused, like if you can, like stay focused on this one priority book while balance out the series that that you have in your mind how it's going to end, how you're going to get to that, I guess, climax or whatever. Like, how do you stay organized? Like,
Right. So I started with handwritten notes. In fact, one of my kids, they were cleaning out something the other day and they came across a whole pile of my handwritten notes. And I was just geeking out. I was like, this is so cool. Like all the different stuff, like characters, what their names were going to be and things that were going to happen that changed. But it was just cool, like seeing that developmental process from where I was to where I am. So I used to be handwritten notes, but once it grew beyond that, I was like, I can't stay organized. I can't find this page. So I have folders upon folders upon folders in the computer, not just this book, but this realm and all the different characteristics of the realm, this person and what they did or will do or where they're going. I have a whole I have a whole index of names and what books people are, each character shows up in the books. So I just, all the different stuff that if I need to find it, I can go look at it, but I don't have to keep it in here. Right. So that's how I stay organized. Like every book has what characters are in it or what realms or references, different stuff, how it ties into different stories, um, what multiple storylines I'm trying to keep in the books, whether it's the overarching, the separation and the awakening that's happening, which, between the Boxa series and the Shadow War saga, like the overarching stories or the micro stories where it's characters building so I just have notes upon notes for each character, each book, and they're all in their own files. And then of course, just like you're talking about, so you have this thought, like I'm already developing the third series right now. It's called the 12 Stone Trilogy, right? And it's like all the different stuff that's going to happen and the nuggets I can put into the books now, the foreshadowing that when you read it the third time and you've read the 12 Stone Trilogy, you're like, hey, that was back there, stuff like that. So just meticulous notes. That's the only way I can keep it. Because like I said, if I'm writing for half an hour at night, but I've been working all day and looking at trees and hanging out with the kids and playing music, if I jump in and I don't have notes, I don't know. I will never find where I am. I'll be like Gandalf and Moria. I have no recollection of this place.
oh my god. Was there like any scenes in Unleashed that was particularly difficult to write, like challenging to write?
So yeah, there is. I don't closed door torture, of course. I don't show it, but like there's a sequence for a few chapters where some people are imprisoned and they're just going through the challenges, going through the character being beaten down and losing hope, being stuck in the dark, and just really connecting with them as they're being broken down, not just physically but emotionally, and just trying to hold on to hope, trying to hold on to any semblance of we could get out of this. So you come in and you've got all these talents, and it just all gets stripped away as you're imprisoned in this torturous chamber, not torturous chamber, but torturous dungeon, where you don't think you'll ever get out. There's no light. Like it's challenging. So to bring those characters into that place and then bring them back out of it, and the process through that, just trying to, because I've never been tortured, I've never been in a dungeon, to really get in depth with them and connect with it so that the readers can experience it too. That was one of the greater challenges of this book.
And is there like any fantasy authors that kind of like influence you the most? Like for me, I love like Tolkien. Um,
Right.
one of my all-time favorites. So,
Yep.
it was like your inspiration, like who influenced you the most?
So obviously Tolkien and Lewis, C.S. Lewis, like those, when I was a child and a teen and all that, I just read all those books. Not so much the Silmarillion, that was a little bit, that just didn't catch my interest, but the Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit, all of the Narnia books, like they're just great. And then I read a little bit of Raymond Feist and all that stuff, and he was fine and all that. But so the weirdest thing is, before I started writing, I stopped reading because I was being a pastor and all that. You don't have time for entertainment and all that, at least the way I was approaching it. So I didn't read a book, entertainment wise. I'd read, study books or whatever, of course, the Bible, but like sitting down and reading an entertainment book for about 15 years. So it was interesting that why I got into writing novels when I didn't have anybody present in my mind where I was like, oh, this book inspired me. It was more like it was the characters that inspired me. It was the situations that, because I'm a what if guy, I'm a why guy. I want to know the why behind everything. So I always ask the question why. And I keep hearing you kind of ask that too. I hear you. Like you're into the, like Tony Stark. You want to deconstruct it all and you want to see all the pieces and why it's like this, so you can put it back together. So that's how I am. So when I started writing, I was like, all right, the first four, like until I actually finished Unleashed, I still didn't read any intentionally because I didn't want to feel like I was taking somebody else's story, plagiarizing or drawing upon what they had. I wanted to make this as unique as possible and firmly establish the realm, the stories, the books, the characters, the magic, all that. I wanted to make this so firmly established that I knew that I didn't draw upon anybody else's inspiration. I wanted it to be pure. I wanted it to be unique. And then once I finished those, then I could get back to writing. So right now, I'm just I've read all the Stormlight archives and all that, big time on Sanderson right now because my brother was pushing me hard. He's big into it, and he's like, "You gotta read Sanderson. You gotta read it." And I'm like, "No, not now." I got too much. So once I started writing, I'm like, "All right, I get it. I get it. Sanderson. There's a reason why he's the best." It's Robert Jordan with Wheel of Time. Those are the classics.
What would be some advice you would give like for aspiring authors that wants to get into writing, tell their stories?
So sounds a little weird, but this is advice I give to young people when they come to me trying to figure out life. It's incredibly challenging to try to turn a ship that's not moving. Like if a ship's sitting at dock, it's never going to turn. It's never going to make its destination, and it can plan out the routes all at once. But until you let go of the dock, until you just push out into the water, you're still just planning. So for writers, you got to write. You can plan and you can worry about the future all you want. You can plan where the ship's going to go and all that stuff. But until you start writing, you're still tied to the dock. Start writing, seeing where the characters go, see where the stories go, see how things develop, and then as it's moving, now you can turn the ship, for lack of better words. You can learn who you are as a writer. You can find your voice. You cannot find your voice until you've written. I heard a phrase that I kind of believe in. I kind of wish it wasn't true, but I wish I could remember who said it. But basically, they said a writer hasn't found their voice until they've written their 1 millionth word. And in many ways, I think that's true because we can find our voice, we can write it, but it really establishes it once you've really put the time in, once you've really written the books. And I'm not just saying like it doesn't have to be sequential words; it could be rewriting words, it could be the editing, because that's how you just really hammer down on, well, this is my style, this isn't my style, this is how I'd write it, this is how I wouldn't write it. And it really takes time to find that. So for an inspiring writer, don't worry about the million words. Don't worry about crossing the ocean. Worry about getting off the dock. Just start writing and find your voice.
Dude, that's freaking amazing. I love that advice because I struggled trying to find my voice for a while, like when I
Hmm.
started writing. But but as soon as I started writing, so my brain clicked to knowing what I wanted to do.
There you go.
And so I've been writing professionally for 4 years now. I was like, I have comics. I'm getting back to novels. But in my beginning, I didn't know what the crap I wanted to write or what audience I wanted to try to reach or anything. But now I can actually finally answer that question of what I want to do. So one, um, in my writing, I bring like awareness to like mental health and like in different aspects, depending on what story I'm telling. Like in
Right,
science
right.
fiction, it doesn't matter if it's science fiction, if it's drama, it's fantasy or horror. I will find a way to bring up some type of mental health awareness in that story without telling you it's about mental health. But if you, like you say, if you actually think about what happened with this character and what's going on with the story, you will figure out that oh, he's talking about mental health in this situation. And so that's kind of how I approach. I want people to feel and see what I'm doing when they read my stories. I'm not
There you
gonna like
go.
tell you this is mental health. You have to figure out that this is mental health. What is happening? Because
There you go.
that was one of the biggest lessons my mom has ever taught me. She said you have to indirectly tell your audience what's happening. Because if
Yeah,
you
you got to
direct,
show and not tell. You know,
exactly,
let them
because
figure it out.
exactly, you have to let your audience go on an adventure with your characters. Because if you directly tell them, they
Right,
would get bored and not come back. So you have to
right,
maneuver your characters to move a certain way to make the audience critically think what's going on. And
right,
so
right.
like and so like my new comic Skin Shifter, which is based on my Jack Bunny novel, I was like when I like it's an alter ego horror story. I'm like I make them like that's like this character is very complex. And like sometimes I don't even know what the heck she's doing when I'm writing it.
Where are you going? Why are you doing that?
Exactly. But so if I'm feeling like this while I'm writing it, I'm fingers crossed the potential fan or reader will feel the same way as I'm writing. So I know where she's
Right.
going. But I'm filling in the gaps of how she gets there. You know.
Yep. Yep. So
Uh,
you're. I hate to jump way ahead, but you're gonna love the sequel to Unleashed. It's Untamed because I get deep into mental health on this one, where somebody goes through a severe PTSD moment and they go through they experience split personality with amnesia, and they forget who they are. And the way I do it, the way I explore it, is actually you go into their mind and there's sword fights in there too. So yeah.
oh my god!
So
I
show
am
not
buying.
tell, right?
You already sold me. I'm buying your books, buddy. You don't have to. You already sold me on it.
But it's all about it. That's what there's an inspiration behind everything, whether it's mental health or you want to inspire people or you want to give hope. You have to have some message behind your story. Sometimes you don't even know what it is until after it's written, but sometimes it's intentional too. You
Right,
know.
right. And what surprised you the most about the publishing industry since you became a published author, from independent to having a traditional publisher?
Just finding out how deep it really is. I'll be honest. The biggest surprise is how slow it is, and it's no criticism on anything. Like as an indie, you can just write the book, and then all right, I'm good with the editing, I'm good with the cover, and I'm just going to publish it tomorrow. Right? It doesn't work that way. It's a slow moving train for a reason because it's meticulous. It's covering every base. It's making sure that it's not just edited, but edited, and re-edited. So that typo doesn't make it into the publication. It's making sure the cover is done right. It's all the stuff. There's so much that goes into just. I mean, it's just pages, right? It's just book. It's just paper. But to make it right, for the sake of the reader, takes time. It takes talent. It takes eyes. It takes trust. Like I could just do it on my own, but I trust Kyle and Gene over at Jumpmaster because they know what they're doing and they care, right? And if you don't surround yourself with people that care, like it's one thing to have your family read the book, right? They're always going to say, "Hey, good job, it was amazing, my favorite book of all time." They're supposed to say that, but when you have strangers that live across the country, across the world, and they're saying, "Look, I like where this is going, but let's get it to where it should be. And they send back the book and it's got all the red marks in it. I got that when I sent Unleashed in and they sent it back to get the editing done. I looked at it and I go, oh, this is awesome. Like the red marks to edit to me it didn't beat me up. It actually inspired me because I was learning. I was like, oh, I could have done this. Oh, that's a great idea. Why didn't I think of that? How did I miss that? Like it was just like the whole way through. Like the editing was one of my favorite parts. Is just red marks wherever they are. Is like, oh, that's a great idea. Like I love learning, right? And that was one way that I get to just sit in the classroom with somebody who really wanted the book to become something and to learn how to get it there.
Oh, heck yeah, it's a whole different process. So even though
Oh yeah.
I'm also publishing myself, and I now have a writing partner that looked over one of my comic scripts, and I told him, I was like, I know I'm missing something with the script, but I couldn't find it.
Right.
I showed my comic artist. They said like it's amazing. I mean, it's a great story, but I was like, it doesn't feel amazing to me, even though I wrote it. I'm like, it does not feel amazing to me. And so I sent the
Hmm.
script over to my new writing partner that's actually here in the same city as me. That was funny how we found that out. And he got back to me. He said, "You have great world building, but he's like that's like a but. Like you just need to slow it down this way."
Hmm.
It's like you have. I mean, you have. I mean, he said, "Don't get me wrong. It's great writing. You just need to slow it down a bit to tighten it up so it don't feel like all over the place."
Right.
He's, he's like, "I can see where you're going with it. You just need to cut this down a bit because you have too much monologue, especially at the end. Just to make you can end it right here to make the audience more there's like suspense on what's going to happen next. I mean, and like
Right.
put this like the next issue or put it up in the issue." And he seemed like great questions and like to I was like he's giving me great questions to answer while I'm writing the story. And I was
That's
like,
awesome.
that's what I was missing. I was
Yep.
that's what the crap I was missing. And I
Yep.
was like, oh my god, that makes total sense. It's like Jesus Christ. I'm like, because legit, when I first wrote it, I was getting it out of my brain, so I legit just wrote the whole freaking thing and rewrote
Right.
it. Like, what am I missing? And he broke it down. He said, "You have a great start, great first issue. Just tighten it up, cut this part out, put it somewhere else, and just slow it down so your potential don't get lost in the world
Right.
that you upon this." I was like, thank you so freaking much. And so now I'm very excited to edit that and
Right. Right.
and it's
Uh,
so freaking
uh,
beautiful. And someone that I don't know as much yet, and giving me that feedback just pushes my creativity farther. And I was like, thank you. Because I knew I was missing something, but I couldn't find it. And having
right. Because as the writer, we know what we mean to say. We know what the character's supposed to be doing, but to convey
that
it
part,
properly to somebody that isn't in here,
yeah, because my brain goes a million miles per hour, and I just had to get that out. But before we coming up on time. But one final question before we hop off: if you can, when you see yourself like 10 years from now, when people talk about your book and your series, what do you hope they say about your series?
I hope they're inspired to look at the world around them with a better eye, with more hope. Because Gandon's a dark place and this world is a dark place. I want people to have hope. And that's one of the overarching themes behind everything is to if I can attach to the characters in the books and see how they came from hopeless situations and found hope, then maybe I can find it too, right? And I want people to have that. I want them to be entertained, of course. I want them to buy the books, of course. I hope that the Shadow War saga and the Boxer series and the 12 Stone trilogy take off, and maybe I don't have to cut trees my whole life anymore. Maybe the books do become a career. I can't control that, but I've got to keep writing and I'm gonna keep putting the stories out and I'm gonna keep sending them in because I like the stories. I like fleshing out the characters. I like seeing where it goes. So in 10 years, I can only hope that people have books on the shelves and can say, I really enjoyed this and I can't wait till you get to read it too. That's my hope. But beyond that, those are things I can't control. So of the things I can control is that once I'm done with this and we publish the Shadow War saga and I get the 12 Stone trilogy, then I'll have another series after that. That's my hope that I get to keep writing because I don't want to stop. I love it. It's so much fun.
Thank you, but and pull up your book one more time before we hop off. So,
Yes, sir.
are
And you can
you?
also check me out, talesofgandon.com. If you do want a signed copy and you want to try to visit me at an event or anything like that, I have all the events posted. You can even purchase the book through there. I have all the links, and it's just a way. I've got events all summer. I'm going to be at Comic Cons and all kinds of stuff until I'm already booked out till September. So there's all.
That's
I
cool.
love getting out and seeing people. I love being part of it. I wrote the book so that people could see it. The only way they're going to see it is if I put it out there. So I'm doing the work. You know.
My talesofgandon.com. I'm gonna put that in the description of the live. And where else? Where can you find your social so you keep up with it?
You got me at on Facebook. It's Tales of Gandon, or you've got my own person, which is Travis Kuffel. I'm also on Instagram, Travis_Kuffel. So I don't do X or anything like that, or those are my two. I'm not a big social media guy, even though I have fun with what little I do. There's way too many options. I'm not a TikToker. I have nothing against that. I don't know anything about it.
You're not missing nothing. But
There you go.
Kevin Davis CEO on Facebook. Jesus Christ. I am Kevin Davis official on Instagram. I'm actually on TikTok at Kevirsyle Studios, but you don't have to follow me if you're not there. But I'm mostly on Facebook and Instagram, and you can find me here at the Madness on Kevirsyle Network podcast. My YouTube is Kevirsyle, and that's yeah, and and that's pretty much it, guys. Travis, thank you so much, man, for coming on. And you're more than welcome to come back anytime, as many times as you want, man. It's great talking to you, man. Great to finally meet you. And make sure you guys
Absolutely.
buy all.
It goes both ways, Kevin. I really appreciate this. I've enjoyed this. Like, time flew by. Like, it's been great talking to you. So really appreciate this.
Thank you so much, man. And so, we'll catch you guys next time. So, deuces.
See you later.
If you missed the live viewing of any Madness Entertainment Group production, you can find all our content on Roku or as a member of this channel. We'll see you next time on the Madness Entertainment Group.